What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Different Lens podcast. My name is Juan Felipe Sierra. I've been in the entertainment industry for the past 13 years, and this is...
And I'm Daniel. I'm just your usual nerd. I like games, movies, music, and yeah, all those things.
All right. Yeah.
Alrighty.
So, what do we have for the docket today?
Well, listen, I was thinking, right? Mm-hmm. I have a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. You may have a lot of answers. There's only one way to find out if you have the answers I'm looking for today.
Okay, that sounds a little foreboding, but I like it.
Today. All right. So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about how we feel emotionally connected to movies and how it all translates when we're watching them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not just movies, but games, music,
media,
everything that has to do with it. Because a lot of people feel very connected, mm-hmm. right? And identify themselves a lot with movies. And there's a lot of movies that for some people are like, that movie was like
transcendental.
Yeah, it was like I connected so much with that movie, with the performance of the actors, with everything that was in the movie itself,
mm-hmm.
Or an anime, or even a game. Right? There's
Correct.
Games that people are like, man, that game was
tight. Yeah.
So I kind of wanted just to talk a little bit first of that power of storytelling, where the story, like I said, connects to people like that. Like, what do you think makes how do you feel about that? Like, how do you feel when it comes to connecting through the storytelling itself?
It's a tale as old as time. I love the fact that stories can pull at our heartstrings. It can make us happy, sad, mad, melancholic. That's the beauty of art in general, because like even reading a good book, the more you read it and the older you get as you read it, you're going to discover new things. Same thing with anime, right. Same thing with movies, same thing with music. Like the understanding of your world and how it operates dictates a lot of what you see or what you miss from the art itself. So I really love that aspect of just stories. And storytelling doesn't have to be, written or oral. Even a painting, something like Guernica from Pablo Picasso, shows the depiction of war, and you could see the transition between each side of the battle and how a deity on top is looking at all the carnage, right. And that's storytelling without saying a single word.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, as a storyteller, when you're doing your voice acting and doing these, how do you, because again, from a perspective of the audience, we just get the performance itself. Mm-hmm. When it comes into a voice acting gig or something, like we just see the performance, like an anime or something like that. As a voice acting, right? Like, how do you go through these moments? Like, what goes through your mentality to get through to those things that you think about, like such shit, and like it gets you in your mood or something?
Oh, depending on what I'm doing, if I know ahead of time what I'm doing, I could prepare much easier. Unfortunately, for a lot of dubbing, for you who don't know, dubbing, you don't get the script beforehand. It's just they tell you, okay, this is the scene, this is your character, go. And they just let you see the scene one time, and then it's just action.
Oh, damn, really?
Yeah. You don't get to prepare. You don't have time to like reminisce. You don't have the time for like, what is the mentality of this character? It's just, okay, ready, go. You got to do this. We got to get through this whole thing. Whereas in something like movies or let's say it's an original animation, you do get the script ahead of time. You do get to be a little bit more introspective when it comes to the characters. But not dubbing. Okay. The thing that I love more, your cat from Meow.
In the
Gary
back
over there
somewhere.
Meow. So when I prepare, oh my god, when I prepare to go into a dubbing session, what I like to do is first vocal warm-ups. They're very important, especially if I'm gonna get ahead of time knowledge that I'm gonna be screaming. Romulo Bernal, he's, oh my god.
Sorry. The cat is just popping up in the back.
Romulo Bernal, who is the voice director for the Spanish dub of My Hero and also South Park and also like a bunch of stuff in Spanish, he gave me this vocal warm-up for screaming, like right before we start screaming. He calls it the ay, 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 ay. And you just you just put your voice very grumbly and you just go ay, 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 and that just warms them up for resonance. Your vocal folds.
Okay.
So you have a little bit time easier both screaming and recuperating from screaming. So But
doesn't that like make your throat raspy at the end?
It doesn't. Like it prepares it for screaming, so the damage is not from cold.
Sorry, I'm just like I hear the meow in the back of my head.
I know.
Today out of all days.
Yeah, of course.
Shit.
So the impact on your vocal folds is not as cold as it is.
Okay.
Also, like, I love to listen to music. I love to listen to. I love listening to anime. I've said that in the past. I'm a big dub watcher. So when I'm going to a session, whether it's in Spanish or in English, I love to watch a really, really good dub, like something like Full Metal Alchemist or
Right.
or Jujutsu Kaisen. I love watching Jujutsu Kaisen because it has a good blend of funny, very action heavy, but also very exposition heavy with really good dialogue. So I do that, and then it gets me in the mood for whatever comes, whether it's, a very, very dramatically heavy, like, for example, there's an episode in My Hero that I did as Todoroki that it was called the Hellish Todoroki Family. That episode is very heavy because you get into a lot of very difficult topics, and trigger warning if it's going to trigger any of you, but it's spousal abuse, familial abuse, the crushing weight of expectations for kids, isolation. It's very tragic stuff. So when I had to do some really deep shit, and I love the fact that it could be that, or it could be, something as silly as other kinds of anime that we've seen in the past, where it's just like they're just a bunch of bumbling idiots, and that is awesome, So storytelling can take us into many different directions and topics and mindsets and emotions, which is mainly the whole thing that not only we're gonna, I guess, be talking about today, but also about art and just the human experience as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually really interesting. Because I wouldn't have thought that you don't get kind of like a script beforehand. So that's actually quite surprising. For me, again, some of you watching or hearing this as an audience, right? We may have become familiar with the idea that, like, actors get a script beforehand, right? And so they have that. And I'm sure that in some cases, even for voice acting, they do get the script in some.
Yeah, like I said, for dubbing specifically, no.
Okay.
For everything else you do, like if it's original animation, if it's depending on the video game, you may or may not. I know that certain studios don't like to give out the scripts just in case they get leaked. So they have you basically like sit in a Zoom call, or there's a specific program called Source Connect.
Right.
They have you do that, and they basically share the screen and they show you the script right away.
Right. So do you think that leads into those terrible performances sometimes we get to see, like in some anime, in some games, or like you just hear the dub and you're like, I mean, not the dub, but like you hear the voice acting and you're just like, it could have been way better.
I mean,
like, it could be the fault of like not receiving.
It possibly can be, but I think it's also, it speaks to the acting acumen of whoever is doing it. In the voice acting community, dubbing, it's called the voice acting bootcamp. If you can do dubbing, you can do anything when it comes to voice acting. So if you're not able to have even an entry level understanding and performance of dub, maybe take a class. Like that's something that I've been seeing, and I know I'm going on the tangents a little bit, and I'm sorry, but I've seen lately, especially in Spanish, that a lot of people take dubbing classes specifically. So in the actual technical part of being able to get in at the ins and out points perfectly, and knowing when to breathe, knowing when to stop, all of that, they have it to a T. So in that sense, they have it really good. But the acting, the soul, the performance of it is where they're lacking. So they might be technically really good, but they don't have that spark of life. They don't have that, like, it just, everything comes monotone or flat, or it just doesn't hit, like what we were saying, that just sometimes those performances just hit us at our core.
Yeah. Okay. I understand. Yeah, because you get to see some performances, sometimes you're like, yeah, but then you have others that completely, really affect you mentally, emotionally. You just get affected really bad. And so, when it comes to think of like what makes a great story great, I believe is the emotion that it can provoke, right? The provocation of like the thoughts, the emotions, the feelings. Like I've seen many movies where like sometimes I'm like playing a game or watching a video or something, and I don't get emotional, right? But then some other times it just hits the right spot, and you're just like, fuck, like I got it. Like, for example, for me personally, one of the movies that I remember I was watching in a theater, and I couldn't control myself. It was a movie called About Time.
Okay.
Right, where the dad, the family through the guy have powers to go back in time. Right, and so there comes to a moment where eventually the dad is like, you're not gonna be able to come back in time anymore because I'm not gonna be here anymore. Right, like he's, I guess they can go a certain amount of time back, but like the thought of just the thought, I guess, of like, we get very touchy, we get very emotional when it comes down to like family sometimes, and like me thinking like, fuck, like there is a time where I'm not gonna see my parents anymore. Right. I'm not gonna see my dad. I'm not gonna see my mom. And being an only child is like, I'm like, fuck, like
who do you go to?
Yeah. So
sure.
That story, even though it was a romantic story, it had that component that completely broke me, just for the simple fact that I was like, okay, when it happens, where am I gonna do? So what do you think makes that also, like, what additional to like the thought provocation and stuff like that makes a great story?
So there was a writer that I saw in an interview once that he kind of broke down how he writes very emotionally heavy scenes, specifically like sad or tragic scenes, and he said that there are certain
I want to make a pause. I don't want to sound like I'm interviewing you, because I'm not interviewing you. It's just I'm sounding like I'm just like, so tell me more about yourself. this we're just having a conversation, but I'm coming off as like,
hey,
you're my you're my guest, and I'm your host.
Invitee? That's what you're trying to say? My invitee?
Yeah. So you know what?
I'm gonna finish
talk
this.
Shit.
No, we're gonna fucking talk shit. That's for fucking sure. But I'm just gonna break down so that if you aspire to be a writer, you could have this in your arsenal of tools. So there's this writer that he said that he has a certain amount of components so that a scene could be really effective emotionally.
Yeah,
there is a level of vulnerability. So there has to be, in a sense, where the character or the setting could be really not ideal at all for something heavy to be happening. So whether they're on the run or it's a very dramatic situation and they need to act right away, so that it crunches time. It's very like time effective of like, we need to do this now. The second part is unfairness.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like,
because you identify with that unfairness and you go, motherfucker, that hits me. The third one, and that's the choice in the acting, is whether they go like overact.
Wait. Let's give an example of that unfairness. Okay. We're breaking it down, so let's give an example of each. Right.
So, like, for example, there's one of the most beautiful movies that I've ever watched is the cast is Octavia Spencer, Chris Evans, and Mackenzie Kenner, I believe her last name is.
Is that about the child?
Yes, Gifted.
Gifted child, yeah.
Gifted. Yep. Bro.
He's the uncle, right?
Yeah, he's the uncle. He's the uncle.
That movie was phenomenal.
That movie is gorgeous. Yeah. I love that movie. There's a scene, if you remember, spoiler alert, she is staying with Octavia Spencer. Octavia, Jesus. Octavia. With Octavia Spencer. And no, sorry, she's staying with the grandmother.
Get your shit together, bro.
I'm so sorry, Jesus. I'm so sorry, Daddy. I'm so sorry. The little girl staying with her grandmother, who wants to turn her into like this mathematician genius, which the kid is. But his sister, so the little girl's mom, wants her just to be a regular child and have a regular experience. Right. So her dying wish is for.
I just felt like when I hunched back, I was like, down, I'm like eating the mic.
You're like, oh.
Yeah, I'm like smelling it.
Chris Evans, his character is taking her away from the grandmother so the little girl could have a natural experience.
Yeah.
No, sorry, he's leaving. That's when he's dropping her off. I'm so sorry. That's when he's dropping her off.
Yeah.
And he has to leave so that in his own selfishness at the moment, he said, no, this is going to be the best thing for her, even though the little girl is pleading and crying and begging for him to come back.
Yeah, I remember that.
The first thing is the vulnerability. And the vulnerability is, I can't get away from my own demons, so I need to get this girl to have the best possible future, even if that's going against her mother's wishes.
Yeah.
So that's the vulnerability part. The unfairness is the little girl begging and crying, like, please don't leave, please don't leave. And the guy walking out, crying. He's like, no, but I got to tough it out. This is the best thing for her, even though it wasn't, because after in later in the movie, he comes back and he apologizes to the little girl saying, hey, I know this wasn't the best thing for you. I was just being really selfish. And there's also a level, the either the overacting or underacting. So I don't know if you saw the movie Roots. Not Roots, Fences. With
of course. Yeah. With Denzel Washington.
So that's a lot of overacting. Where, you know, even what's her name? Viola Davis.
Jesus.
Viola Davis, you see her with the fucking mocos all over the place and the tears and whatever. That's like going out overacting in a lot of ways. With what Chris Evans did was just underacting.
She's a phenomenal actress.
She is fantastic. I mean,
just saying.
Didn't she get nominated for an Oscar for that movie?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I believe so. I think
so it hit.
Both of them did.
Yeah, so overacting doesn't mean that you're just hamming the scene of like, I am acting. Yeah. It's just that you can have such a guttural emotion that you just can't control what you're doing with your face and what you're doing with your body. Or underacting, which is you just have to compose yourself. You just, you have the single tear and then you have the character that just goes like, and that's it. That is underacting. So depending on what they're trying to do, that is also a level of the emotion could hit a lot harder because you're like, motherfucker, cry, or bro, stop fucking crying.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
So for example, like I'm gonna give you another example, The Last of Us. I haven't seen the whole series, so I'm gonna talk about the video game. When Ellie is being chased by David and they're in the restaurant, of course, he grabs her and he's choking her and she fucking wails at him with a machete. And afterwards, when Joel hugs her and he's like, hey baby girl, I have you, I got you, it's me, whatever, you don't even need to hear what she's saying. You understand every detail just by the facial expressions, the facial animation, the music plays such a important part 100%. Because it just accentuates whatever is going on. You can tell, like, when a great director and a great musician is a composer, is making really good music, is when even if the scene is a little underperformed, the music just elevates the whole fucking thing to an emotional.
Sound is huge.
Correct.
Sound is huge. It's like watching a scary movie with no sound. There's no scare to it. You can't. I mean, unless you're watching like a silent film, but as the age has progressed, watching a silent film doesn't hit the same nowadays. They're still great. Don't get me wrong.
But even silent movies had music.
Yeah, but it doesn't hit the same unless it has music to it.
Correct.
Like I was thinking, like when you were talking about that, one of the examples that I was thinking that came to my mind, for those of you that watch it, you probably are going to immediately understand what I'm talking about. But like No Instructions, what is it? No se aceptan devoluciones.
Okay.
No Instructions
required.
Something like that, right? With Eugenio Derbez.
Yeah.
That movie, I don't know if you watched it. Oh my God. That movie has everything that you just mentioned, right? Because I believe I think he's like a wannabe actor or like stuntman, and he stumbles upon like a girl that gets abandoned, and he starts raising her. But he's never the real father for the girl. And then he goes and becomes a stuntman, and he's making money, and he's just making sure that the girl has everything that she could ever want. But at the end, they're coming saying that it's not fair, or that he's not being able to provide the proper life for her.
Right.
So they want to take her away.
Yeah, like child protective services.
Something like that. And then he has to fight to get her back. So it has all that unfairness, the whole emotion. Or even thinking about the other movie that I can think of, and I'm going with Hispanic movies because, why not? Bajo la misma luna, Under the Same Moon. Did you watch that one?
I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to make a connection here.
It's okay. Just no. I would make the connection just by the way that you talk about them.
But Under the Same Moon is also about they're Mexican, right? And they're trying to make it across, or I think they're here, but then they were gonna get deported or something like that.
Come
And I
on, bro.
think the
You're giving me shit, motherfucker. You're giving me shit.
Listen, I haven't watched those movies in a very long time, but those are the moments that just come to my mind thinking of those things, right? But I think the child goes back to Mexico, and then he has to make it back into the United States. And so, yeah, he goes through this whole odyssey of trying to make it back. Anyways,
so there's also a big component of a really dramatic scene, and it's also powerlessness. Powerlessness that also falls into the unfairness part. But for example, something like there was one movie that completely, like, one scene from a movie that just completely rocked me to my fucking core, and it's from it's kind of a weird one, but Toy Story.
Yeah,
Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
When they're all coming down the little trash chute and they're about to get, incinerated. I was gripping I was white knuckling my table so hard, and I was shaking. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
And the good thing about tension too, that also plays a big part in drama, is that the more you stretch, Tarantino calls it the rubber band of tension, where you can just stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch. So you see them coming down, you see the fire, you see everybody grabbing their hands, you see them kind of like resigning themselves. I was like, the entire time I was like, fuck, and until it gets shot off, or they get picked up by the claw from the little alien, being like, the claw. But those kind of scenes, you really feel like, you've seen One Piece, right?
Yeah.
Episode 438. It is the most, like, if you describe it to somebody, they're gonna be like, are you fucking dumb? But just because you've seen the same boat for 438 episodes.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, now that you mentioned it, now I remember. Sorry, I'm not exactly remembering the episode number here.
Yeah.
But I do remember when they're saying goodbye to the Going Merry.
That's the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Where they jump back into the mirror.
Hit.
I would never. I would have never in my fucking life. I would have never in my fucking life would have said I would be crying and bawling and fucking mocos everywhere for a fucking boat.
Over a boat. Not even the characters. Yeah, but you feel like she's a character
because she's the one that has been taking them all over the place. And you know what? I'm sorry, this is gonna be a bit of a flex time, but the voice actress for the dub for Mary, her name is Brittany Karbowski. She is an amazing human being, and I've gotten the honor and the pleasure of knowing her, through cons and whatever. And then through the last con that I was here in Miami, which he went as a guest, she was there. I got to talk to her, and I was like, hey, that scene with the Going Mary, and she goes, bro, every few weeks, somebody sends me a clip of the Going Mary saying goodbye, and it just hits me because she's a mom, and she's like, she told me, she's like, I don't know, like, when I'm gone, what my kids are gonna say, what my husband's gonna say, what my family's gonna say. So having that last shred of goodbye is just, it hits harder, and that's something that as an actor I aspire to bring to somebody. Just that one scene that just completely wrecks somebody. Like in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, my favorite anime of all time. I have a tattoo of this motherfucker here. There's a scene in, I believe, episode 16, where it's the... Jesus, I'm thinking about it and I'm starting to get a little emotional. It's the funeral for Mace Hughes, and Roy Mustang stands in the sunset, and Riza Hawkeye walks up to him and she goes, it's getting late, it's getting cold, we should leave. And he just tells her, it's a terrible day for rain. And she goes, but it's not raining. And he goes, yes, it is. And you see him crying. Every time I see Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which I try to watch once a year, that scene always gets me. And this is a personal choice. I think that that's the greatest acted moment in any anime period.
Bold statement, but good. Yeah, I remember that scene, and it's very good.
Yeah,
it's very touching. Yeah, I mean, I think one for me personally was, and at least for me, this moment was, I don't know why it hit me too much. in the movie Inside Out when they're saying goodbye to the imaginary friend, because when we're growing up, it kind of hit on that little spot where we went through something like that. Like we all had those moments. Like the first Inside Out for me was an emotional roller coaster just because of those core memories and just me thinking of creating those core memories. It's so deep because, again, you think about growing up with your parents, things that would never happen again, moments that you would never get to live again, and they're portrayed so well in like just this little yellow ball, which is like a core memory. Well, those are moments of happiness, but like a core memory that is like a moment you're never gonna get back, but you're always gonna cherish for the rest of your life. You're never gonna forget it. And then we have so many of those. Like, for example, that Roy Mustang moment. It's, even though it's a sad moment, it's like a core memory for you.
Yeah,
like
for
you
sure.
never stop thinking about it. So for me, that movie had a lot of, and like connection.
Right.
And I watched it by myself, and I was like bawling.
Yeah, I mean, because it represents the death of innocence, and how no matter what we try to do, there's always that part of us that the magic goes away a little bit, whether it's if you believe in Santa or the Tooth Fairy or anything like that. When the innocence gets kind of like forgotten and it dies a little bit, that part of you is like, I so want to go back to that. Like there's so many things that the reason why I love anime specifically is because it scratches an itch of, I remember watching anime as a kid and being like, this is the greatest thing I have ever watched in my life. And now seeing it again, it's like, it doesn't hit as much, but it hits. And I love seeing that. Same thing with like Disney. That's why Disney is such a successful company, is because they introduce movies for kids that have really deep messages.
Yeah. 100% that an adult can physically be like, oh shit, how do
I explain death to my kid if I can watch Hunchback of Notre Dame, or watch Mulan, or watch
Soul was really good too.
Watch, there's so many movies.
They have a lot. The meanings and the movies are phenomenal.
And the songs, bro. The song, songs. I know we haven't spoken a lot about music, but
we will. We have to.
But Disney songs specifically are, no matter what age you listen to them, they hit so hard. Like, for example, something like I this is a bit of a personal thing, but for many years I had a lot of insecurities, whether it was my body, or that sense of like I'm not good enough, or imposter syndrome and stuff like that. And lately, on my journey to getting better as in mental health and all that, I listened to the song I Can Go the Distance from Hercules, and that song hits, because it's like, that's exactly how I want to feel.
Yeah.
And both in Spanish and in English hit so fucking hard. And I've listened to it over and over and over again. And it's one of those songs that when I'm feeling a little down and I'm like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, I don't know if I just have to put that song, and it puts me in a mood of like, no, I've worked for this. I have worked tirelessly. I can go the distance. So even something like, but it's just a Disney song.
Yeah.
No, that shit will stay with you for the rest of your fucking life.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. And me growing up in Colombia, right? I naturally watch a lot of movies that a lot of people have watched here in English. I watch them in Spanish.
Oh yeah.
So like, for example, Toy Story, the first Toy Story, when it came out, I was too little, but I probably watched it maybe, when I was like maybe 6, maybe, right? Like, yeah. Anyways, but there's so many songs that you're mentioning that to this day I would be like, wow. Like, for example, the movie in Tarzan.
Yeah. I wanna know, can you show me? Okay.
And then also in Toy Story, the friend song.
Eres mi amigo fiel.
I don't know it in English, but I know it in Spanish.
You got a friend in me.
You
got a friend in me.
I just think, for example, and then maybe you guys maybe can relate, or whoever's listening, if you think of that song and you think about your furry friend, like a pet or something. Yeah, I mean, it could be no.
I thought it was a friend that you have that is a furry. I'm like, whoa.
Because I was gonna say, yeah, it could be with people too, but furries. But if you think about it, like, you know, like an animal, like a pet, they're your family members, and they don't say anything. They're just there with you always. You know, they're always with you. They will be always with you no matter what. You're essentially their whole life. So they will be always your friend.
Su amigo fiel.
Yeah, su amigo fiel. And so, you know, for me, that was very particular, just because I grew up with like having pets here and there, and unfortunately coming to this country, I couldn't bring my pets, so I had to leave them. And finally, fast forward a few years, now I have 2 kitties, and then, you know, now I'm like, man, like I just can't see the day where I don't have them anymore, right? Like they just core memory, getting my kitties, and then I can't just think of the day where I'm not gonna have them, and you know, just putting it together with the songs. That's what I'm trying to go at.
We've spoken about like sad and tragic scenes, but what about something like that? Just you feel that sense of like, I want to fucking kick somebody's ass. I want to piss.
Bro, you don't have to say much. I'm going to go straight to the one. If you watch Game of Thrones, Jeffrey.
Oh my God.
Fuck Jeffrey. What a great performance.
What was the kid's name? Something Gleason.
I can't remember his name, but he was in Batman. Batman saved him.
Yeah.
Anyways, he shouldn't have. Anyways, Jeffrey was this character who's so... Joffrey, fuck, I kept on saying Jeffrey.
El Jeffrey.
El Jeffrey,
El Jeffrey. Uy, El Jeffrey. El Jeffrey.
El Jason.
El Brian y el Kevin. Y el Elvis.
Sorry. Joffrey. Wow. Fuck. I'm going to butcher a lot of names. You guys already know this. If you've seen some of the other episodes, my English is not very good looking. Like Celia said. Anyways, but yeah, man, that kid, fuck me.
Yeah.
He was so, like I said, he was well written.
Extremely.
And he was so annoying until the moment he died. I think everybody can you know, in conjunction,
unilaterally
amazing. And the way he went was beautiful. You know, foam in the fucking mouth and shit.
The eyes all red and shit. For me, it's there's fucking Full Metal Alchemist.
Sure, yeah.
Nina's dad, the one that turns her into the dog. No, you can call him a fucking
what a bit
piece of shit bitch ass hoe. When Ed is punching him, and he just like hitting him, the fact that he had a reasoning to it pisses me off even more, because I'm like, motherfucker, it's not just he's cruel, it's that there's a point to it. And motherfucker, I want to continue for him to fucking get hit. Or even something like when Roy Mustang gets his revenge on Envy, and he's just like glah 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 glah, and he just like you see everybody else's pain, but for a moment you're like, yeah, fuck that motherfucker, kill him, fucking burn him, and then you just see that last moment of envy of like, you know, I was just born this way, whatever, like how can you beat me? And so there are moments, and I love those moments of like unilaterally fuck that guy, and we're gonna fucking kill him, and I want him to be fucking buried 6 feet deep.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there are other moments that you're like, should I enjoy this level of carnage, or should I enjoy this? I'm pissed off and it feels good, but like afterwards you're like, what kind of fucking person am I?
I don't think so. I just think that the story is written in a way that it makes you, it elicits those feelings from you. Like it wants to pull those feelings out of you. Like the character is so despicable that you're just like, cannot wait, and then you just hope they die in the worst possible way. Another character from Game of Thrones, which I didn't really like too much, was Littlefinger. He was conniving little bitch,
but he was fun to see how conniving
absolutely he is. 100%. But he had a lot of moments where you just genuinely got angry, because you're like, fuck, like when you thought that maybe he was kind of like on the right side of it, on the Stark side of it, you're just kind of like, oh, okay, good. And then this motherfucker would just pull a fast one, and you're like, fucking bitch.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that feeling of betrayal.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Even a character that kind of betrays his own morals, like Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender, on the scene where he has a choice of either help the Avatar or capture the Avatar, and he captures the Avatar, and you're like, motherfucker, you were doing so good. Like, your progression was going so well.
Yeah.
Fuck, why are you doing this to yourself? And in a lot of ways, you get that frustration because you know you've committed that kind of shit too, and you're like, motherfucker, there I am too. Motherfucker, why do I do the same shit that I've been doing all my life and it's not working? You know, so I love the fact that animation, movies, music, all of that can elicit such a response. Like, we were just talking about it before we started filming. Something like a diss track, like, you know, Euphoria, where he's like, I hate the way you talk, the way that you walk, the way that, and you're like, yeah, motherfucker, keep killing him. And afterwards you're like, I don't think I should be enjoying this too much, but fuck that, you know.
Yeah, well, you could just go to a game. You know, Micah from Red Dead Redemption. What an unlikable
fucking piece
character.
of shit. Yeah.
Like, the whole time it's just, and you're forced to play for so long alongside of him that you're just like, I'm like, I just want to shoot him and end it.
Yeah.
But you're forced to play the whole game, seeing Micah being a piece of shit the whole game, and then you're just like, fuck this guy. Like, it's just across the board, you can find so many moments that just anger you, and in general, like, elicit that desperation of, like, the character is just so fucking bad.
Yeah.
I was actually gonna ask. All right, so we've been talking about angry moments, right? I just keeping on the anger side of it.
Yeah.
Can you think of moments where you genuinely feel confused on the sense of like you were saying, like, I shouldn't be feeling this type of way. Like, am I wrong for rooting for this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that kind of situation.
Yeah.
Because, like, okay, real quick, No Country for Old Men, right? You know how Anton Chigurh, which is played by
Javier Bardem,
the fantastic Javier Bardem, he is going after a guy who steals the bag. If you haven't seen it, it's basically kind of like a cartel drug deal or something that goes bad. There is a bag that has, I think it's like $2 million in cash, and this guy, Josh Brolin, happens to stumble upon it, grabs it, and dips. And then Anton, which is played again by Javier Bardem, is from whoever cartel or whatever it is, and they send him, right? He's the guy that they sent after the bag, and so he's going after it, and he's so bad that throughout the whole entire movie, I wanted him to catch Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
Like, I was genuinely rooting, and he's so bad. Like, he's killing everybody and everything on his way. Like, no remorse. Just, you're in the wrong moment at the wrong time, he will kill you. And then he's so menacing as a villain. Phenomenal. But I was rooting for him. I was actually like, fuck, I wanted him to catch it. I don't know why. I was just like, I just wanted to get him.
There are bad guys that you're like, I don't care if they win. Like, I genuinely sometimes root for him to win. Like Castlevania. Dracula. The entire time I was like, yeah, fuck those people.
Yeah.
I don't even think Dracula is the bad guy. He was just a product of circumstance. I think the church was the bad guy. Like, the entire, like the entire Pope and the priests or whatever, they're the bad guys because they're the ones that end up killing Dracula's wife. Even though he's the antagonist, he's not necessarily the bad guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like that, and it creates that I don't know what to say, mental fog. No, it's like more like it creates that mental dilemma, right? Where you're just fighting the whole movie, whether it's the right decision, the bad decision, and you're just like, fuck.
What do I do? Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, I think it's part of the greatness of those movies when it's executed properly.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because some are doing a terrible job. But when it's executed properly, it hits a spot. And on that note also, I mean, there are the movies. Now let's go a little bit more lighter.
Yeah, we've been going like, fuck everything. We're all gonna die. We're gonna suffer.
We're about to flip this table here.
Yeah.
Anyways, talking a little bit about happiness.
Yeah.
Right? Happy endings make people happy. I really do like coming out of a theater and feeling like that was a good movie.
Right.
Or watching a movie, even if it's at home, and just watching a movie where you're just like, wow, man, like that was a ride.
Yeah.
And I just came out of that ride and I felt like good. You know, it was like a good ride.
Yeah.
It's like going to the theme park and going through a really good roller coaster where you're just going through emotions, but at the end you just come out and you're like, ah, that shit was good.
Yeah.
Like this shit was good. What was the last movie you watched that made you feel like that? And before you continue, if you any of these type of movies, leave them in the comments. Let us know what movies made you feel some type of way. And
oh yeah, for sure. We love hearing
why?
about you, and we love hearing about your experiences and how other movies that we may not have even considered have made such an impact on you. So please drop them below.
Yeah, and if you're just listening, reflect on it and think of movies that have made you feel some type of way. Just kind of like what we're talking about, like the themes that we're talking about. And you know, if you don't want to go so dark, then think about the happy ones.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
for sure.
Go ahead. Friend.
The last movie that I saw that I came out being like, wow, fuck yeah. Jojo Rabbit. At the end, when he helps his friend like escape the Nazis, and when you know they're both kind of like, okay, this is where we start. This is where we because it's the whole thing
such
is
a
like
dark scene
with the shoes.
That scene is so rough.
Fuck.
That scene was so rough to watch.
That scene is
I love the ending, but the scene was so rough.
That scene reminds me of Mulan because, you know, the kid is dancing and he's just like, ba, ba, da, ba, and then you see the fucking shoes and you're like, Jesus, fuck. It's the same feeling that I got from Mulan when they're singing about like the girl worth fighting for. Boo, boo, boo. And you see the village completely burned to the ground, and you see the little doll on the ground. You're like, fuck, these are the stakes that now just got raised. These are the people that they're fighting against. Now you're understanding what army you're going against, what savages you're going against. I got that same feeling. But at the end, when he is able to help his friend escape the Nazis, and even the Nazi captain or whatever sergeant played by Sam Rockwell helps him escape. I was like, oh my God, like, finally something like uplifting for this kid. There's also, if you haven't seen the movie Simon, which I believe we've talked about it.
I've already watched it.
Yeah. So you did. Okay. It's a movie that I was a part of as in the art department. Out of everything that I've worked on, it is single-handedly the greatest experience I've had in a movie set. And it was through rough times. It was the middle of 2021 in July. Everybody with fucking face covers and masks and whatever. So it was, but the whole thing. So the whole movie is basically about immigrants and about how a Venezuelan immigrant has to flee Venezuela because he gets threatened with being killed and his family being killed. So he has to leave. And he's eating shit here as an immigrant. And there's one scene that to me, even when I listen to the song, that it's Me Rehuso by Danny Ocean, I get so happy. And it's this. There's a scene where, you know, he's being like down after down after down after hit after hit after hit. And he has just that one scene where his friend tells him, let's just go dance. Let's just forget everything and just go for a dance. And he goes, okay, fuck it. And they're dancing, and you hear "Baby, no me rehusa," and he's just having this moment of like,
he's vibing.
Finally, a shred of hope, and that sense of like, oh my God, finally this kid catches a break. It made me so happy that I've repeatedly watched specifically that scene, just so I can feel like, even though life is hard, there are these little moments that make you feel like everything's gonna be okay, everything is gonna be fine, and it just lifts your spirit and just makes you feel hope and makes you feel alive. So it's like, I love those kinds of scenes.
I mean, for me, for example, going a little bit to the anime side of it, I finished Mob Psycho, and I genuinely enjoyed the ride watching it. It was such a great show of this kid that is thinking his whole time he's thinking that his powers are bad, right? And he's trying to repress them, and then he has his mentor,
which is a grifter.
And he's like trying to teach him how to deal with his powers without having any powers himself.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because there's a lot of times where he genuinely makes sense. And, those little moments where, like, it shows up that whatever he was saying kind of falls in line perfectly with the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. And then the way it ends and everything, it's phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. But Mob Psycho was one of those that
the fact that
gave me a good feeling.
The fact that he even goes for the body improvement club and they don't bully him, they don't feel bad. They're like, yeah, let's go, kid. And he starts running and you see him fucking dying. And afterwards you see him like running a lot more. And the guys are like, yeah, because they're like gym bros, but in the best possible way. So they're like, come on, kid. Like, yeah. That's like that really healthy.
Everybody's trying to help him.
Correct.
Everybody around him is trying to help him, around Mob, and everybody's trying to help him. And I think that's so perfect. Like, everything is, he's like the most powerful, overpowered character in the show, yet everybody's just, he's trying to like, he's like a normal dude, and everybody around him is just so heartwarming when he's around. It's a great show. So yeah, it's one of those animes that I genuinely felt like, oh wow, I finished it and I was like, that's good.
Yeah. But to me,
I wanted more.
To me, there's like, speaking of anime, there is in Jujutsu Kaisen season 2, the first 3 episodes. Mm-hmm. There's a scene where Rika is looking at an aquarium. Mm-hmm. I love the whole scene of the fish going around, the music, the piano just go. The guy that is playing the piano fucking killed it. Yeah. What a gorgeous sound, music and soundtrack. And you just see the hope in Rika Amanai's eyes, just watching the fish go by and reminiscing about how she's had a tough life because she's never had a normal childhood, and how she's had the weight of expectation of being this super powerful being and having to connect with this basically God level being, and having her life be basically extinguished.
Is that the hidden inventory
arc?
Yeah. All those episodes are phenomenal.
Fucking awesome.
What a great start to the season.
Yeah. There's times where I just legitimately watch those 3 episodes and then I'm like, I don't want to watch the rest because
that's
I don't
how
want to get sad.
I introduced my cousin to it. No. I'm like, hold on, watch how Gojo shows up his powers.
Oh yeah.
And how he explains them.
Yeah.
And he was like watching it. He's like, okay, I'm going to watch it. Yeah. And he watched the whole thing.
The shot where he is like, he has Rico by his hand.
Yes.
And he goes and you just see the transition between one building and just whoosh, you see the window shattering. I'm like, that is a fucking amazing shot. And it can only be done in anime.
And it's fucking phenomenal just because it's so good. And it's so well done that it's just like, oh man. Like, yes. Like the that's what I was kind of talking about, like in the previous episodes. If you haven't watched them, watch them. Anyways,
subscribe, leave your comments, and ring the bell, and share the episodes.
It's when you have like those overpowered characters, it's like so overpowered, but like that are done right. Like you just see it and you're like, that was so good. Like he is so overpowered, but in the best possible way. But I love Gojo so much.
Even then, he's still trained to be the Gojo Satoru. He is overpowered, but you see him still be weak. Mm-hmm. So he's not at the pinnacle of where we see him in the latter half. But also another anime that this is more on the romance side, because typically I don't like romance because it could be forced, it could be just sappy and like, oh my god, really? The same shit over and over again, the same story. But an anime that has me by the fucking balls when it comes to romance is Dandadan. Oh my god, I am here for it. Momo and Okarun, every time they have a glance, or when they hit their teeth and you see him kind of like a kiss, or when she gets jealous and kicks his ass, or when he tries, like, it's the best fucking novela ever. Like, fucking better than Rosa de Guadalupe, better than fucking anything, better than Betty La Fea, like better than any other fucking soap opera I've ever seen in my life. And it's just such a pure and like legitimately well-made romance that I'm just like, every time they do something, I'm like, I want them to kiss, I want them to be together, come on guys, you know. So I get that like level of of Giddy where I'm like, please be together, please be together.
I'm looking for, hold on, I want to look for one specific episode. And this is, I know we're talking about happiness, but that episode for this show that I'm going to tell you guys in just a minute, keep talking about Dandadan a little bit. Let me just look for it. And I'll explain to you in just a second. But just...
Yeah. So here's my camera. I'm going to continue talking about Dandadan. So the moments where
I love the most is when they have that genuine connection through either hardship or through just the level of weirdness that they both have. Because if you see Momo, she's very emotionally distant, and also she is very like a very syndicate kind of thing. Whereas Okuro, he's very secure on who he is, what he likes. He's gonna have friends, so he's the first person that he actually genuinely cares for so much that he's willing to risk it all for her. So that level of commitment they have to each other, and the fact that they both accept their weirdness, both one thing on the stage side, the other one thing on the audience side.
I'm running out of things to say because so you better hurry the fuck up.
It's okay. I found it. Okay. All right. So I just need to talk about this episode for a second, and we're probably gonna have to watch it so you can understand. Now this is a little bit not going to happiness, but this is an episode that genuinely broke me as a whole, and it's from a comedy show.
Okay.
Right? So there is a show, it's an Australian show called Mystery in Between. If you haven't watched it, it's phenomenal. It's about a hitman who was kind of like, I think he's like he was in war or something, like he's an X-Men or something like that. And then he comes back and he becomes a hitman, right? He makes money as a hitman. And so there is an episode, right, in season 2, episode 9, called Socks Are Important. Right, it's very short, right? All the episodes are 27 minutes. It only has 3 seasons. But in this episode, on the episode prior to that one, the guy that he works for, right, has a bouncer who gets in trouble with somebody that he has in there, right, and he hurts somebody, like he robs him. So he calls for Ray, right, and tells him, "You need to make him disappear because he robbed me." So Ray goes up to him and, he's going to drive him off, right? But since they're friends, he doesn't want to hurt him. So he's going to tell him, "I'm going to help you skip town. I'm going to give you money and you can leave," right? And so when they go off, they go to this like mountainside, and he tells them like, "Oh, I'm going to help you." And the guy's like, "Listen, I'm tired, man. All I've done after coming back from war has been bad. Everything. Nothing has been good, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "Come on, man, like, let me help you." And he's like, "No, man, if you're going to shoot me, but I don't want to go through this." And he ends up jumping off the cliff, right? So kind of deep topic here because it's suicide. And remember, if anything, you need to talk. There is always a line for that. And I hope you do. Yeah. And so he jumps off, right? He just overwhelmed with everything and everything going but poorly, so he jumps off. So you already start the episode, and again, this is a comedy show, but you already start the episode or end that episode kind of on a bad note. So you start this next episode where he's breaking the news to his former wife, which is episode 9. He's telling her, and she's like, "We kind of knew that it could happen, right? Because obviously they're hitmen, they're not the greatest guys." So he, he's like, "I'm going to take your daughter with my daughter, and we're just going to go around and so you can have some time to process." He goes into a store, right? And the girls are like looking at some bicycles and stuff. He's watching, he's looking for socks basically. And they're like, "Oh, we want to see the bikes." He's like, yeah, no problem. Just stay together. And he's like looking, and then the daughter comes back and he's like, "All right, so where's the other girl?" And she's like, "She was just here with me." The guy starts freaking out. He starts going through everything, talking to the cleric in there. It turns out that a child molester took the child. And you see how frantic the whole episode the guy is. Mind you, he's a hitman. So the whole time this man is going off so bad. Like he's just going crazy because he can't find the daughter of his former friend. But like the anger, the anxiety, everything that he feels, you're feeling it the whole episode. And the whole entire episode, they keep you like that. It has a great ending, right? But the whole episode, you're just you're saying like you're just gripping the chair because you're like, fuck, man, like I really want this to work out. And it's, again, the anxiety that builds up because his friend he calls a friend and he's like, "Help me." And his friend is like, dropping everything he's doing, and he's like
a tracker.
Yeah, he's like helping. But in the other time, he's just like wrecking havoc everywhere he's going because he's so desperate that he's just like driving like a maniac, fucking pulling shotguns around. Like, he's just going crazy.
Yeah.
That episode made me feel everything all at once, from being absolutely like, oh yeah, to being like, oh my god, and anxious, and then my ass crack was sweating. And at the end, it's just like, oh my god, it ended, and it's only 27 minutes long.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to talk about it, just because if you haven't watched Mr. In Between, it's a great show. It's a comedy show. It's fun to watch. I can recommend it, highly recommend it. But that one, episode 2, season 2, episode 9, socks are important. Phenomenal episode. And like I said, I'll probably have you watch it just because.
Let me ask you. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. What scene has made you feel like hope? That you're like, wow, I feel hope again in humanity as a whole.
Man, I am blanking out right now. It's difficult. I am literally blanking out right now. But I do.
I can tell you mine.
Sure. 'Cause I'm blanking out.
Again, in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Yes, I'm gonna keep name dropping it because to me it's the single greatest piece of art ever created. Come at me.
Period.
Come at me, motherfuckers. I can debate about this all day. But there's a scene where they're in kind of like the void world. They're in the like that liminal space, and they open the gate of truth, and Ed sees Al, his original body, and the hands are grabbing Ed and they're pulling him, and you see the doors close, and you see him open them again, and he points to the camera and he goes, "Don't, I'm gonna come back for you. Don't you dare die, whatever." And you just see him like, no matter the strength that these hands are pulling him back, he's like, "No, I'm gonna save you, and I'm coming back for you." And Al's body goes, "Okay, I'll be waiting."
This man
Sorry.
is on a road, dude.
My body is just it rejects good emotions. I'm so sorry. I've been having that sneeze stuck in there for a little bit. I'm so sorry.
Shit.
Anyways,
wow, man, I really can't think of anything right now. But
but if you can think of a scene that brought you hope, or desperation, or sadness, or anger, or happiness, or romance, or any kind of those feelings, please, we would love to hear it. Comment down below.
Yes.
And thank you guys for being in this wild ride of an episode with us.
Yeah.
Of a lot of like emotional highs and lows. Where can people find you in socials, my brother?
Well, they're gonna be able to find the channel.
Yes.
The Different Lens podcast in TikTok and Instagram, and well, obviously here, and also, no, that's it.
Where can they find you?
Oh, Dan Balder and Instagram. That's it.
For me, you can find me in most social platforms as Juanfe Sierra or Juanfe Sierra Cortez. And once again, we want to thank you so much. You want to sign us off?
So just make sure you like and subscribe to this video, and stay tuned for the next videos coming on Mondays. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.